What if I told you 400 square feet is enough space for a full kitchen, a real bathroom with a walk-in shower, a separate sleeping loft, and still leave you room to breathe? And here's the part most videos will not tell you. That 400 square foot number does not even count the loft above it. So you are actually looking at closer to 500 square feet of usable living space once you add the bonus sleeping area overhead. No composting toilet tricks, no fold-down Murphy bed disguised as a couch, none of that. This is a tiny house that functions like a real home, just shrunk down and smartly planned. Stick around because by the end of this video you will see the complete floor plan, the exact room-by-room layout, and you will understand why more people are choosing homes like this over traditional four-bedroom houses in 2026. Before we get into the walkthrough, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because on Home Intel we break down real homes with honest opinions. No sponsorships, no fluff, just what works and what is not. If you're into tiny living, smart floor plans, or just love seeing how far good design can stretch a small space, this channel is for you. Why 400 square feet works. A lot of people hear tiny house and picture a glorified shed with a mattress on the floor. That stereotype is outdated. 400 square feet sits in a sweet spot, and it is not just a random number. Under building code, specifically IRC Appendix Q, 400 square feet is actually recognized as the upper threshold for what qualifies as a tiny home, and that measurement excludes loft entirely. So a home built right at that cap already has bonus square footage built in before you even count the sleeping loft above it. It is small enough to keep construction and land costs down, but large enough to include everything a household actually needs on a daily basis. You are not sacrificing a bathroom for a kitchen or a kitchen for a closet. With the right layout, all three coexist without anyone feeling cramped. The exterior and first impression. Most 400 square foot builds use a single-story rectangular footprint with a small loft tucked under a pitched roof. Board and batten siding, black trim windows, and a covered entry porch are common choices for 2026 builds because they add visual depth without adding square footage. A porch might only be 40 to 60 square feet, but it changes how the whole house feels from the outside. It gives you an outdoor living zone, a spot for 2 chairs and a small table, and it makes the entrance feel intentional rather than just a door bolted onto a box. Entering the home, walk through the front door, and you typically land in a small mudroom zone, even if it is not walled off. A bench with hooks above it, a spot for shoes, maybe a narrow closet built into the wall thickness itself. This detail matters more than people expect. In small homes, clutter kills the sense of space fast. So having a designated landing zone right at the entrance keeps jackets and bags from ending up on the kitchen counter. The kitchen layout. This is where most tiny homes either succeed or fail, and it is usually the first thing viewers ask about. In a well-designed 400 square foot home, the kitchen runs along one wall or wraps into an L shape, giving you a full-size refrigerator, a 4-burner range, a real sink, and enough counter space to actually prep a meal without stacking cutting boards on top of the stove. Upper cabinets go all the way to the ceiling instead of stopping short, which reclaims storage that would otherwise be wasted airspace. Open shelving is popular too, partly for style and partly because it is cheaper than closed cabinetry and keeps the kitchen from feeling boxed in. A kitchen island is not always possible in this footprint, but many layouts include a peninsula instead, a counter extension with 2 stools that doubles as a breakfast bar and a workspace. It is a smart compromise. You get extra surface area and casual seating without eating into walking space. The bathroom, a real bathroom, not a wet room hack, is one of the biggest differentiators of a well-planned 400 square foot house. Expect a floor-to-ceiling glass or acrylic shower enclosure, a standard flush toilet connected to municipal or septic plumbing, and a vanity with a mirror and storage underneath. Some builds use a sliding barn door instead of a swing door to save floor clearance, which is a small detail that makes a real difference in a tight footprint. Tile or large format waterproof vinyl planks are common finishes because they hold up well and keep the space feeling clean rather than utilitarian. Living and sleeping space. Here is where floor plans start to differ the most. Some 400 square foot homes put the bedroom on the main floor, using a sliding door or a half wall to separate it from the living area while still keeping an open, airy feel. Others use a loft accessed by a staircase, not a ladder, which frees up the entire ground floor for living and dining. And remember, that loft is essentially free space from a code standpoint, since it typically is not counted against a 400 square foot cap that can push total usable living area up to roughly 480 to 520 square feet, depending on the loft size, which is a meaningful bonus most buyers do not realize they are getting. Staircases with built-in drawers underneath are common too, because that dead space under stairs is prime storage real estate in a small home. The living room itself usually holds a small sofa, a media console doubling as storage, enough floor space to not feel like you are climbing over furniture to get to the kitchen. Large windows are a deliberate design choice here, not just for natural light, but because sight lines to the outdoors make a small interior read as bigger than its actual square footage. Storage solutions that actually work. Storage is where good tiny home design separates itself from bad tiny home design. Built-in benches with lift-up seats, drawers under the stairs, cabinetry that runs to the ceiling, and closets built into wall cavities all show up repeatedly in the best 400 square foot layouts. The goal is to make storage invisible, tucked into structure that already exists, rather than adding standalone furniture pieces that eat into your limited floor area. Mechanical and utility considerations. A full kitchen and bathroom means real plumbing and electrical work, not off-grid workarounds. Tankless water heaters are the standard choice in 2026 builds because they take up a fraction of the space a traditional tank would and provide continuous hot water, which matters a lot when your whole house is under 500 square feet. Mini split heat pump systems handle heating and cooling efficiently without the ductwork a central system would require, and they tuck neatly into a corner or high on a wall. Cost expectations in 2026. Costs vary heavily depending on the type of build. So let's break this down properly instead of throwing out one number. If you're talking about a contractor-built, permanent foundation home, essentially an accessory dwelling unit, with a full kitchen and bathroom, you are typically looking at somewhere between $120,000 and $200,000, depending on location, materials, and finish level. That per square foot cost is often higher than a large traditional home, because kitchens and bathrooms are expensive regardless of the size of house around them. But if you're looking at a pre-built tiny home on wheels, meaning it is manufactured on a trailer chassis rather than a fixed foundation, the price drops noticeably, usually landing somewhere between $80,000 and $130,000. That is a significant difference. So if budget is your main driver, a trailer-built THRW is generally the more affordable path into this lifestyle compared to a site-built foundation home. Who this layout actually makes sense for? Honestly, this is not a home for a family of 5. It works best for a single person, a couple, or as a guest house or rental unit on an existing property. If you're downsizing after kids move out, or you want a low-overhead primary residence without giving up basic comforts, a layout like this hits a real sweet spot. Where it starts to strain is with multiple people sharing the space long-term, since privacy becomes limited fast once you are past 2 occupants. The honest trade-offs. I am not going to pretend this lifestyle is for everyone. Closet space will always be smaller than what you're used to in a standard home. Entertaining guests means your living room, dining area, and kitchen are all the same 12 by 15 foot zone. And resale value on tiny homes, especially ones on wheels rather than a permanent foundation, is still a developing market in most regions. So financing and appraisal can be more complicated than a conventional home purchase. If those trade-offs do not bother you, the lifestyle upside, lower utility bills, less to clean, less to maintain, is significant. To recap the floor plan, you've got a covered entry porch leading into a mudroom zone, an L-shaped or peninsula kitchen with full-size appliances, a real bathroom with a walk-in shower, a main floor or loft bedroom, depending on the build, a compact but functional living area, and storage worked into nearly every structural void in the house. And remember, if that build includes a loft, you are getting that sleeping space essentially as a bonus on top of the 400 square foot footprint. That is a complete livable home in a footprint smaller than most people's living room and garage combined. That is a full picture of what a 400 square foot tiny house with a real kitchen and bathroom actually looks like in 2026. Loft space, code details, and real cost numbers included. If this kind of smart, honest home breakdown is your thing, make sure you're subscribed to Home Intel, because we do this every week with real floor plans and real numbers, no sponsorships, no exaggeration. Drop a comment and let me know if you'd actually live in a space this size, and I will see you in the next one.